I recently had clients buy a brand new home here in the Gallatin Valley, and about a week before we closed, we sent their inspector down into the crawl space. It was full of mold, a house nobody had ever lived in. Not a single night, and mold had already taken hold in the space right under the floor. Here's how that happens, because it's one of the things nobody tells you before you buy new construction, and it isn't even the worst of them. There's one state rule that's supposed to protect you, and most buyers learn how it really works about a month too late. I'll get to it at the end, so stick around, because if you're buying new, it could save you tens of thousands of dollars. If we haven't met, I'm Heiland, a real estate advisor and broker here in Bozeman, and I moved to the Gallatin Valley in 2016, so I've watched this whole building boom happen in real time, and I help a lot of people buying new construction. I want you walking into that purchase with your eyes wide open, so let's get into it. Let's start with the biggest myth, and that's that a brand new home is automatically a safe home. Everything in it is new, so what could possibly go wrong? I'm here to tell you plenty. There are excellent builders here who do careful work, and the trouble shows up with the ones who don't. Let's get back to my client's crawl space, because it's the clearest example of how. That home got framed in the fall, it went up through late fall and winter, so the lumber sat wet almost the entire time. Then we had a warm winter, hardly any nights below freezing, so instead of the cold holding things in check, the crawl space stayed mild the whole way through. Wet wood, mild air, a sealed space with no heat and no air moving through it yet, that's the exact recipe mold wants. And by the time we closed in the late winter, it had taken over down there. My clients got lucky in one respect, because the builder agreed to mitigate the crawl space and make it right. You can't count on that outcome. And it's the whole reason you get a full inspection, even on a brand new home, because you have no idea what happened during the build until someone actually crawls under there and looks. There's a pattern behind a lot of this too. A good share of the building here right now is done by companies that came in from out of state, from states like California and Arizona, where the ground and the weather behave nothing like they do in Montana. A crew that learned to build in a warm, dry climate doesn't always respect what a Montana winter, or especially a warm Montana thaw, does to a half-finished home. A new home can still be built poorly, and the season a home was built in matters more than most people realize. Keep that in mind, because it connects to almost everything we look at today. And real quick, if this is the kind of honest information you want before you make your big move, take a second and subscribe. I update videos just like this every single week. Now, let's talk about the ground itself. The next one is underneath the whole house, and it worries me the most because it's the most expensive to fix, and it's the hardest one to see coming. Two things can go wrong with the foundation here. The first is the soil. People picture Montana as solid rock, but big stretches of Montana and the Gallatin Valley sit on expansive clay, which swells when it gets wet, and it can dry with enough force to crack a foundation and lift a house out of level. So what sets it off? Usually, it's the water you add yourself from irrigation or landscaping, and the rain that isn't draining away from your home. It's frequently not the groundwater underneath. But this also isn't a theory. Out in the Three Forks area, there are active lawsuits right now over brand new homes whose foundations are failing on this clay. The reports show the same pattern. The builder never pulled a site-specific soil report, set the foundation on piers that never reached below the zone where the soil moves, and a year later, the floors slope, the doors won't latch, and the drywall cracks. One home even ended up nearly 2 inches out of level over an 18-foot span. And it isn't just one unlucky lot either. Foundation repair companies all over this valley stay busy with exactly this problem. The second thing is the cold. How deep is deep enough? Montana code generally wants home footings around 3 feet down for a single floor home, 4 for something heavier. When a footing isn't deep enough, water in the soil freezes, expands, and then pushes it up. And if only part of the foundation lifts, the house twists into those same cracks and sticking doors. Here's what protects you. Before you buy, ask the builder for the soil report and the record of inspections. Montana requires them to hand those over. No soil work on a site where clay is known to move is a huge red flag. Get it in writing before you sign. Then hire your own inspector who specializes in new construction. That one decision can save you from a six-figure repair that you couldn't see coming. Now, we get to one that catches a lot of people off guard, especially if you're moving here from a city, and that's water. There are two completely separate things nobody tells you about a well. The first is whether you even have a secure legal right to the water in your well. Sounds strange if you've always lived on city water, right? In Montana, water rights are their own world. A lot of new homes outside the cities run on what's called an exempt well. And a court ruling a couple of years ago changed how the state treats those in subdivisions. So a developer can't just hand every phase its own allotment anymore. The state looks at the whole development together. On top of that, the Gallatin Basin is closed to new water rights, so you can't simply apply for one. There are subdivisions right now where people moved in and then got a letter saying the water right they assumed they had isn't secure. And those homes are very hard to sell now. If you're buying in a newer subdivision and on a well, confirm the water right is real and locked in before you close. Then there's the question of whether that water is any good once it's out of the ground. A private well has nobody checking it but you. Around here, it can carry naturally occurring arsenic from the old Yellowstone geology. It's higher in some pockets than others, especially west of the Gallatin River. And you can also pick up nitrate from nearby septic systems, which matters most in denser subdivisions and is a real concern for infants and pregnant women. You'll often see iron and almost always hard water as well. So plan on a water softener plus filtration if the quality comes back poor. A recent study of thousands of Montana wells found arsenic and uranium are the biggest health drivers in our groundwater. So test when the well goes in and also once a year after, because nobody else will. And also budget treatment into the cost of your home. You don't want it to be a surprise later. And that brings me to the last one, the rule I promised you at the top, the one most people learn about too late. Montana requires a builder to give you a warranty for at least 1 year on a new home. That sounds like a solid protection, and here's how it really works. The builder gets to write what's covered, what's excluded, and the exact steps to make a claim, down to the deadline and the method. Report a problem the wrong way or in month 13, and you can lose a completely valid claim. There is a longer backstop called the implied warranty of habitability, which says a builder has to work in a workmanlike manner and can reach beyond the 1 year period. But you also don't want to be relying on a lawsuit to enforce it. Here's the move that protects you, and it's what I suggest to every client. Right around month 10 or 11, before that 1 year warranty runs out, I have them bring their inspector back to walk the whole house again. Everything that inspector flags, document in writing with pictures and get it over to the builder the way their warranty requires, before the clock hits 12 months. That turns a warranty written to shield the builder into a tool you can actually use. Now, here's the honest part, and it goes back to who built the house. Most of our local builders are genuinely good about this. They'll come back and take care of what's on that list because they live here and their reputation is their whole business. Where it gets dicey is with the bigger, out-of-state, more corporate builders. Miss their protocol or file it the wrong way, and they know they have no obligation to help you. And with that many cogs in the machine, they won't because they don't have to. Following their process to the letter is what keeps that warranty working for you instead of for them. That said, this isn't really about where a builder is based either. Plenty of out-of-state builders do excellent work, and being local is no guarantee on its own either. So research whoever you're buying from and choose your builder carefully. And one small item before you buy, read the HOA covenant so you understand exactly what you're agreeing to, not after you've bought. So that's the real picture of buying a new construction home here in Montana. For most people, this is the biggest purchase of their life. And the point of all this homework is to protect two things at once: your money, which is the equity you're building, and the life you came here for, which is the whole reason you're moving to Montana. When I work with people on a move like this, that kind of thinking ahead is built into how I work from the very start. If you want someone in your corner who will ask these questions for you, look up Live in Bozeman, or the links to book a call and grab my free guide are both down in the description. So start there. I'd love to hear from you on this one. If you run into something shady in a new build around here, tell me in the comments because I read them all. And it might just make the next video. Before you go, watch this next one before you make an offer on any home in Montana. There are a handful of homes in this valley that look great in the listing pictures, but end up costing their owners tens of thousands, or turn into a home that's almost impossible to sell later. And I'll show you exactly which types to steer clear of. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.